everybody in the shuttle program. The crew is go for launch.
Roger. Nice to be in orbit.
We have followed in their footsteps to get us where we are today.
Hello and welcome to this morning's post-splashdown briefing for NASA's SpaceX Crew-1 mission. NASA astronauts Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, Shannon Walker, and JAXA astronaut Soichi Noguchi splashed down off the coast of Panama City, Florida this morning at 1:56 a.m. Central Time and will make their way back to Houston a little later this morning. The crew, which launched in November of last year, spent 168 days in space. Members of the Resilience crew were involved in 5 spacewalks during their time on orbit, saw the arrival and departure of several visiting crew and cargo spacecraft, and contributed to hundreds of scientific investigations and technology demonstrations while aboard the International Space Station. We have a few folks here to talk about the mission and the crew's return. They are Kathy Leaders, Associate Administrator for NASA's Human Exploration and Operations Mission Directorate, Steve Stitch, NASA's Commercial Crew Program Manager, Joel Montalbano, NASA's International Space Station Program Manager, Holly Ridings, Chief Flight Director at Johnson Space Center, Hans Königsmann, SpaceX Senior Advisor for Flight Reliability, and Hiroshi Sasaki, Vice President and Director General for JAXA's Human Spaceflight Technology Directorate. We'll start with some overview remarks and then move to questions from reporters on the phone. For those asking questions, please press *1 to ask a question, and we'll also be taking some questions from those on social media using the hashtag AskNASA. Okay, we'll start with you, Kathy.
Well, first, thanks for all of you being here so early in the morning. What an exciting landing. I mean, first of all, beautiful, beautiful evening. You could see how nice the weather was once again. I think we've been extremely lucky that we got 2 landing days, both for Demo 2 and Crew 1, and these are really nice days to be able to rescue the crew. Re-entry is hard, and the spacecraft was in beautiful condition, but you just worry as you go through the 6 minutes of calm blackout, and it was so great to hear Mike's voice and then see those drogues and the mains deploy so wonderfully, and the vehicle just come softly down and back to Earth, and see the boats going out to pick up the crews and bring them home. It's amazing. We've already got pictures of the crew out there, and you can see, Mike and Shannon and Victor and Soichi, they look like they did on the day they launched, and it's kind of hard to think about that. That's a picture of them inside the crew capsule now on the recovery boat. But they're doing great, and we're very, very happy that we'll be bringing them home to their families. I got to talk to Soichi and Victor's families, and they're very excited to see them again, and we'll be planning on having a late birthday party for Victor soon coming up. This is our first full-up crew rotation mission, and we on the NASA side, and I know on the SpaceX side, we've learned a lot. On the NASA side, we're going to take this learning into our future crew missions with Boeing, and most importantly, the Artemis missions. And I know the SpaceX folks are just going to keep doing these missions. I don't know how you could have done this one much better, but we are hoping that they're going to be continuing to do the great job that they've been doing. I personally want to thank the SpaceX team, the NASA teams, and we've had several other federal agencies that have jumped in and helped us along the way. And I really want to thank everybody for all the hard work that they've done and doing such an amazing job for our nation. Thank you.
Okay, next we'll hear from Steve Stitch.
Good morning, everybody. It was an incredible day today, recovering Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, Soichi Noguchi, and Shannon Walker after their 168 days in space. It really has been an incredible 27 days, I would say, for the NASA and SpaceX teams in the Commercial Crew program. This has probably been our busiest month. We started on April 5th with a port relocation to set us up for the landing that we did today. On April 23rd, we launched the Crew-2 mission, and they docked one day later. And then today, on May 2nd, we deorbited and landed the Crew-1 vehicle. Today went very well overall, I would say, almost flawlessly. Dragon did great. You know, it was great to hear the crew when they woke up. The first thing Mike Hopkins did is ask, you know, what's the weather going to be like? And we told him, hey, maybe 2 knots of wind and 1 foot waves, and he was very excited from the very beginning. You know, we undocked at 7:30 Central Time, just as we planned, did the separation sequence to get about 10 kilometers below the station. And that's where we executed the maneuvers to jettison the trunk, and we leave it in that orbit. It's a very safe orbit for a long time. Executed the deorbit burn right around 103 Central. It's a long burn. You know, it took about 16 or 17 minutes to execute that burn to start the entry sequence, and then of course we landed right around 1:56 a.m. As I said, the vehicle did great, flew flawlessly as we undocked from station, doing the sequence of maneuvers. The trunk jettison went great, just as we would expect, and the deorbit burn and the entry went phenomenally well, as did the parachute deploy. My hat's off to the SpaceX team for building such a great vehicle, and also the recovery operations tonight was phenomenal. First time they've done the crewed vehicle at night. We had a lot of confidence in this night recovery based on the cargo mission that we flew and landed in January with SpaceX, and they recovered that vehicle as well. You know, we had a couple lessons learned from the Demo 2 mission. If people remember, we had some slightly high hypergol readings. Today we had none of that with the vehicle. It was performed flawlessly. And last time, you may remember, we had some boats in the area. Today, the United States Coast Guard had several assets on scene and patrolled that area. We had no leisure boats within the ellipse that we cleared for landing, so that was much, much better than last time. Overall, just a great flight. We recovered the 2 drogue parachutes and the 4 main parachutes. We're very interested in looking at those parachutes for future missions to make sure that their system's performing well, so those were recovered as well. So my hat's off to the entire NASA and SpaceX team, not only for tonight's operation, but for all the work they did to get this mission ready to go and to bring it back. We'll move on after this flight. We'll do a post-flight review of the data for this flight, and we also have post-flight reviews coming up jointly between NASA and SpaceX for the Crew-2 mission, for the launch phase and also the orbit phase with Dragon during the rendezvous and docking with ISS. So it's an incredibly neat time in Commercial Crew, and after this we'll move on to the Boeing mission, the OFT-2 mission, which will be in the August-September timeframe, and then of course we have another crew rotation coming up in the October timeframe, where we'll launch Crew-3 and bring Crew-2 home. So it's an exciting time. My hat's off to the entire team. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Next up is Joel Montalbano.
Thank you, and welcome again to the post-landing press briefing. Truly just an outstanding mission. You know, an international effort that has participating countries across the globe working to make this mission successful. As you heard, 160 plus days on orbit, 160 plus days doing utilization and research, technology development for the Moon program, as well as low Earth orbit commercialization activities. And now with the Crew-1 team safely on home, Crew-2 and the Soyuz crew on orbit will continue those activities for the next 6 months, advancing what was started with Crew-1 and the Soyuz crew that was there during the Crew-1 work. So just, again, an outstanding mission. We look forward to seeing the smiling faces of the Crew-1 team back on Earth, talking to them about lessons learned and using those to advance our mission, to advance and make these missions even better and stronger in the future. So with that, huge thanks to everyone involved. And Rachel, I'll hand it back over to you.
Thanks, Joel. And we'll go over to Holly Ridings.
Well, good morning, everyone. And I Again, thanks for being at the post-splashdown press conference. It's an exciting time to be here talking to you. It's been a really great day for the operations that were conducted, first with the undock and then our entry, descent, and the very successful landing. Really I should back up and say it's been an amazing 6 months with resilience docked to the space station and the crew on board. International crew, of course, a JAXA crew member, Soichi, first time an international member of a crew on the Dragon, which we were all very excited about. And Shannon Walker had an opportunity while on board to be the commander for a period of time, and so that was exciting as well. In fact, earlier today when they left, Aki, who took over the commander, he's a Crew 2 crew member from Shannon, was able to ring the bell as Resilience was departing and say all those happy words as they were able to send them home. They'd been doing a direct handover with all of the crews on board, Crew 2, our Soyuz crew, Crew 1, 11 crew members on board the space station for a little bit more than a week. It was an exciting time, lots of work that was done. Of course, the landing itself required the crew on board to do a sleep shift, right? So we changed their sleep and wake times on board the space station, and that affected the teams on the ground here. And so in order to make this really a very good deorbit and landing opportunity work out for the operations teams and really all of the teams, there was a tremendous amount of effort by NASA and SpaceX working together, and many other teams as well, to ensure that we could safely land our crew today during this night landing. All 4 crew members are doing really well. Got the capsule on board, Resilience on board, SpaceX's recovery ship without any trouble, out of Resilience, and as I was walking over here, the helicopters were there ready to ferry them on to land. And so the reports are all 4 crew members are in great shape and great spirits and doing really well. And so again, just an incredible 6 months of this Resilience vehicle and the crew on board the International Space Station, and then really just a great day. It's not very often you get to wake up on the space station and go to sleep in Houston, and so we've been talking about that in the control center. The orbital mechanics and the weather don't always work out, but today they did, and so that's pretty remarkable. Back to you, Rachel.
Thanks, Holly. Next, we'll hear from Hans Königsmann.
Yeah, good morning. From all of us here at SpaceX, I want to thank NASA and JAXA for trusting us to fly their astronauts. I was watching the mission from the departure, after the departure from the space station, and I must say this was an amazing mission, and the entire SpaceX team is so proud to support the station. The overall mission went very smooth. The launch in November last year, the long-term docking over 6 months, the port relocation a few weeks ago, and now the departure, re-entry, and splashdown. It's great to have Mike, Victor, Shannon, and Soichi back home again. I know that the team here is looking forward to meeting them again in person soon. We will look at data now and inspect the spacecraft, and then get the capsule ready for the next flight. NASA and SpaceX worked hard to certify both Falcon 9 and Dragon for multiple flights, which is critical for reliability and affordability. As you heard before, this was the first nighttime landing since Apollo 8, and I think it worked great. The lighting was good. There was no additional traffic. The weather was just super, and the wind conditions were just perfect. The SpaceX and NASA teams returned human spaceflight back to the United States, and I think this is a remarkable achievement, the opportunity of a lifetime for many of us, and something to be proud of. Thank you, NASA. And we are looking forward to many more flights to the space station and beyond, Moon and Mars.
Okay, thank you, Hans. And next we'll hear from Hiroshi Sasaki.
Good morning. First of all, we are really pleased to hear all crew members came back home safely. Congratulations and welcome back. I would like to express the sincere appreciation to NASA, SpaceX, and all members who have devoted to this mission under severe COVID-19 situations. It is great pleasure for us that Soichi Noguchi, Japanese astronaut, has completed these important missions together with international partners and with SpaceX. This mission opened the new era for human spaceflight. Soichi is a pioneer. He was on return to flight of Space Shuttle, and he was first Japanese JAXA astronaut launched on a Russian Soyuz, and he boarded this mission, the first operational flight of Crew Dragon. I believe that his experience contributed this mission's success. During the long stay at the International Space Station, he challenged the new research and development to benefit our lives on Earth and toward future human spaceflight. And Aki Hoshide will take over his job. We believe that the International Space Station is an important facility for humankind. We'd like to utilize the International Space Station maximum extent. And I think this mission proved the Crew Dragon provide a more robustness and more capability to the International Space Station, and also proved that international and commercial partnership accomplish this goal. Leveraging the partnership is also true for our endeavor in space exploration. We want to continue not only the lunar surface, and even Mars. We must go together towards these challenges. And of course, JAXA will be joining this endeavor. Once again, congratulations on the return. Thank you.
All right, thanks for everyone's remarks. We'll start taking some questions from media dialed in. As a reminder, you can press *1 to get in the queue to ask your question, and we'll also take questions via the hashtag AskNASA on social media. So with that, we'll start with Marcia Dunn of the Associated Press.
Hi, good morning. Another SpaceX Crew mission is in the books just in time for the 60th anniversary of Alan Shepard's Mercury flight. And the next crew flight coming up for SpaceX is privately purchased. And I'm hoping Kathy and Hans, if you could both comment on SpaceX leading the way, not just for NASA and commercial crew, but also for space tourism coming up. Thank you.
Well, I'll just make a short remark and then I'll let Hans jump in. But I do think that this was really our goal when we set up commercial crew. And honestly, we're very excited to see it kind of taking off. One of the reasons why we did the contract the way we did was so that the commercial companies had the opportunity to be able to, sell the capabilities that they developed to give us services to other folks, and so that the capabilities that we work so hard together on are then there and available for, U.S. citizens or international citizens out there to be able to experience and be a space person too, and so our goal is one day that everyone's a space person, and so this is just an exciting first step for that. And we're very excited to see it starting to take off. Go ahead, Hans.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. And this obviously is a big step going forward. We showed in the last missions that we can safely transport astronauts up and down with Dragon. We had a chance to learn important lessons and to improve reliability and make the operations very smooth. And today was testament to the whole Dragon design team and operations team, and also the recovery team, and the execution was just perfect in my eyes. So I think going forward we're ready for this important step. We're ready for the private astronaut mission. I think the first mission in particular is a very special mission. They trained accordingly, and they. The oval mission is very important, has the combination with the St. Jude's donation. So I think all of these things come together into an upcoming great private astronaut mission. I'm very much looking forward to that.
The next question comes from Eric Berger with Ars Technica.
Congratulations all around. You made what's hard look quite easy this morning. Question for Kathy. NASA's been focused on transportation for a long time, getting cargo and crew to LEO and the moon. But now, you've kind of got transportation to LEO in hand, and with SLS Orion and Starship, you're starting to work on the moon. It seems like to me you can think more about operations. So what's it like, planning not just for the station, but the moon with SLS and Starship? You could potentially send hundreds of tons of cargo to the moon a year. So I'm wondering, Kathy, as you look beyond transportation to operations, is that exciting to you? I mean, what do you think about that? The fact that it's not so much transportation anymore you have to worry about, but actually capabilities, operations. Thanks.
Yeah, I'd say we're still at the beginning steps of, continuing to make this look easy, but Joel and Steve have been doing a great job of that, along with SpaceX, right? But this is only our first, full-up operational mission, so we need to keep having the missions look like this. But you're right, Eric. It's very exciting that we're starting to lay in the foundations for these key capabilities, and hopefully with Artemis 1 mission and the uncrewed demonstration mission getting behind us, and then the crewed demonstration mission occurring soon after that, we are laying in the key foundational aspects with Gateway and beginning to lay in the demonstration for the human landing system to really lay the foundation for us going back to the moon and sustainably operating on the moon. And this isn't a dream anymore. We've got very, very concrete steps to go do that. And, Sasaki-san talked about that this is an international endeavor, and we have very solid plans and agreements and contracts out there to go make this happen. So I'll tell you, Eric, it's a great time to be the HEO AA. A lot of exciting things going on in HEO, and obviously, the landing today was one of them.
Our next question comes from Chris Davenport with The Washington Post. Chris, are you able to ask your question?
Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, sorry. I was just saying congrats. I was mentioning how you guys got the spacecraft on the recovery boat in less than 30 minutes and the crew out in less than an hour. And I was hoping someone, maybe Steve or Hans, can talk about the training that went into that and what your goals were going into the mission in terms of speeding up that timeline, and then also what the benefits are of getting the crew out so quickly. Thanks.
Yeah, I can start, and then we'll let Hans follow. Obviously, I think one of the things today, first of all, congratulations to the SpaceX recovery team. They did a phenomenal job getting the crew out of the water very quickly and capsule on the ship. I think one of the things that has enabled that is they have done many practices of this operation. In fact, just after the launch, last couple Fridays ago, they actually went out and did a practice, and they were really ready to go. And then today, the weather. One of the considerations when we evaluated this night landing was the weather and the sea states and the fact that it would be very benign conditions for recovery and for the crew. And I think that also helped the team. And I know the SpaceX goal is to get the vehicle out of the water as fast as they can and get the crew out, and then start. One of the things that we do once we get the crew back on the ship is a medical evaluation, and we start doing actually research as part of the space station program to see how the crew adapts to the Earth gravity, and that's important to us as well. And I'll turn it over to you, Hans, and see what you have to add.
Yeah, Steve, like you said, it's basically practice, and congratulations to the recovery team. This was an awesome operation. I was commenting on this earlier, actually, inside Mission Control, and I noticed the professionalism and how smooth everything was, and it looked more like a race car pit stop than anything else. Everybody was at the right spot and did the right things. And then obviously the weather was great. We picked a great night for this operation, so everything came together and resulted in these record-breaking times for getting the Dragon out of the water and the crew out of Dragon then. So great operation. Congratulations.
The next question is from Camden Hall with Next Horizon Spaceflight.
Thanks for taking my question. My question is for Kathy or anyone who feels that they can take it. I know that Dragon has a lifespan for human spaceflight. Do you see that lifespan for human-rated spaceflight increasing if Dragon can show that it is safe and reusable over the next few flights? Thanks.
Hey, Steve, you want to take that one? I mean, I think this is in your...
Yeah, I can talk about the Dragon. Hans talked earlier that we have embarked upon reuse of these vehicles, and of course, Crew 2 is our first reused Dragon capsule. It flew on the Demo 2 mission with Bob and Doug. It can be reused up to 5 times based on our assessments. Right now we've got, our assessment is for the 1 flight, but we can extend that up to 5. And then really what that means is 5 flights for up to 210 days on orbit. And so we'll look at that. We'll continue to look at the vehicles when they come back. One of the neat things that we'll do once we get resilience back to the Dragonland area is we'll go through, Hans and the SpaceX team will go through and start the refurbishment. And kudos to SpaceX for allowing NASA to have a presence at Dragonland. We have an office there, and so we'll go hand in hand with them as they go refurbish the spacecraft. And what we do is, as we take the components off and look at reuse, is we learn from that. And so I think there's a potential over time to really potentially extend that life, and so we just do it kind of methodically, step by step.
Okay, we'll take a few questions from social media now. Dominic on Twitter asks, are there differences or modifications between the Crew 1 and Crew 2 capsules?
I can take that. There are a few modifications between Crew 1 and Crew 2 capsules. Mostly it's the same vehicle. There's some upgrades to the propulsion systems on Crew 2. For example, some of those upgrades actually allowed us to utilize a little more propellant and fly in a little bit higher wind on ascent. And so before, we've had an onshore wind component that we've had to manage around, so one of the modifications improved that. Some of the software on the Crew 2 vehicle has been upgraded to improve abort capability and escapes downrange for ascent weather. There's a battery upgrade on that Crew 2 vehicle with a little bit improved lifetime on the battery and improved energy storage. And then, of course, we have a fly-around capability on the Crew 2 vehicle. So at the end of the mission today, we undocked from the Zenith port and did 3 maneuvers to go up and around station and below. That vehicle has the capability to go 360 degrees around the space station and then get good photography of all parts of the space station. So those are just some of the upgrades to the vehicle.
Another Twitter question here, maybe for Holly or Steve. Brandon on Twitter asks if the crew will get to sleep at home or have to sleep at a NASA facility tonight.
Yeah, so I can certainly answer that. They'll actually sleep at our astronaut quarantine facility here at the Johnson Space Center. It's really important when they've been up on the space station for 6 months and not exposed to the same things down here on Earth, that they stay in quarantine a little bit longer, while they're monitored by our flight docs after their return. And so they go straight into an exercise protocol that helps them recover quickly, and they'll be out and about not too long, but they do stay at a quarantine facility for a little bit after their return.
Okay, thanks. And one more also from Twitter. Will Dragon Resilience be Crew 3's ride to and from the space station?
I could take that question. Resilience will not fly on the Crew 3 mission. SpaceX is in the process of building a new Dragon for Crew 3, and it's well underway. Propulsion system is very far along. There's 2 parts of the vehicle that have been already mated together, and then the trunk that has the solar arrays and the radiator panels is being built up. So it'll be a new vehicle for the Crew 3 flight in October.
Okay, thanks. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap up here and let our participants get some much-deserved rest. Thanks to everyone for joining today. Stay tuned to nasa.gov for more information about the first opportunity to talk to the Crew-1 crew later this week. Thank you.